Okay, 3 weeks. James Explains, day 21. Channel's getting pretty popular. How high up am I? How high up am I? Alright, let's see. So, question a little bit broad, a little bit specific though. How high up am I? What am I talking about here? Well, high up can be used usually for altitude, aka height. Some people might say drug, high. I say no. Then am I? This is your location. You know, this could be a feet, meters, some sort of dial slash number. Most definitely a number of sorts. Maybe even a reference to a certain height. You know, kind of like, I don't know, you are to Empire State Buildings in the air. Or maybe you are one Mount Everest. Okay, so very short question, but could mean a couple things. So let's define this a little bit further. In terms of altitude, maybe this is what could this be? Well, this could be, there's altimeters, which are devices that show current, altitude versus sea level. Okay, and then there's also apps that use GPS data to determine altitude versus sea level. There's also websites. They once again use GPS data. And then what else? There's also, you know, physical meters. And they register air. Actually, that might be how an altimeter works. Not really sure. Register air content. This is O2, oxygen, to determine how high you are based on air thickness. So, a couple current devices, current practices. So let's see. Let's ideate a little bit. What if there was a way for you to ask the question, ask question of current height, and then you get your answer spoken back to you. So a couple ways this happens is you have obviously voice command. And voice command can happen on a phone, tablet, radio, yeah, and the voice command can lead into apps, web pages. Or the voice command basically can voice to tech is now like a combo that works. So this is good. Used to not be that way. So basically, what if we did something like you ask the question of how high up am I? An app or a website uses GPS data, and it returns to you in a certain way the answer to your question. And then maybe the piece that we'll explore a little bit is relatively how high you're up. So, in terms of Empire State Buildings, mountains, etc. Okay, so let's draw out a little user flow. So let's say you're climbing a mountain. You notice there is a little thin so you say to yourself, you ask yourself the question, how high up am I? Now that you've asked the question, you could say, this could be done with, hey Siri, this could be done with Alexa, this could be done with hey Google. All of these are ways to activate this question. So you get the, let's just say you have your voice command screen pops up with question. Computer handles it, so we use diagonal. Voice command pops with a question. Obviously there's a searching for your location screen. And then after that, you have the results are, the results will be displayed. Displayed in big number plus map. So, very, very simple, but how this looks is the piece that's going to separate, because as well, along with them being displayed on a big map. You could either ask it another question like, maybe not relative to what. Maybe the results displayed in the big number on the map can be answered as if like you are 2,000 feet above sea level, or you are 2 Empire State Buildings above sea level. These are just interesting ways to answer this question. So let's brainstorm a little bit on those. So let's call this ways to answer this question. And rather than just, obviously it's the typical number, i.e. 2,000 feet. We'll do the text. You have number plus sea level. This is 2,000 feet above sea level. I know that the first one's implying it, but it's just important to write it out for me. So 2,000 feet above sea level. Another way you could say this is name plus number plus sea level. And let's say James. You are 2,000 feet above sea level. Another cool way to do this is you could say let's write it how we think it and then break down how it's written out. So you are 2 Empire State Buildings above sea level, which is the equivalent of saying relative height plus sea level. And then another iteration of this, just trying to iterate here, nothing special. You could say, James, you are 2,000 feet above sea level. That is 2 Empire State Buildings. So this is the same thing as saying name, number, so that's plus sea level plus relative height. And I think this is the way that we want to go, because after you ask the question, how high up am I, you want the direct answer, like, hey, you're talking to me, so it's James. And then it's like, how high am I? 2,000 feet? Above what? Sea level. I'm sure this could always be changed. Could be altered, i.e. home, work, sea level. And then relative height, well, it could be a popular tall / small. So another funny way you can answer this is, James, you are 2,000 feet above sea level. That is the same height as 40 million jelly beans stacked on each other. So this is once again 40 million jelly beans. This is the same as popular. It's also kind of wonky. And with this, you're going to have a constant changing of relative comparison. You ask yourself why? Well, because people probably will get sick of comparing everything to the Empire State Building. People will probably get sick of comparing everything to the Empire State. I mean, it's simple. So there's infinite, and also, additionally, there are infinite heights of things out there to do simple arithmetic on. You know, why? Because computers are powerful. Computers do math quick and powerful. So whether it's jelly beans or Empire State Buildings, computers are very good at figuring that out. So let's draw a little bit. I ran out of water. I left it upstairs. Well, we're almost done this anyways, so I can get some more in a bit. Okay. So what do we want to draw? Let's draw the asking of the question. Well, it's a very simple process, so let's experiment with the answer being displayed. So we'll have the question being asked and the answer being displayed. So you have your wide phone screen here, and you ask the question, "Hey Siri, how high up am I?" Then Siri will respond, "Let me get that for you." Alright, so this right here, this is the thinking. thinking, processing, trying to do math. Easy. One step question. Boom. So then everything shifts up. The answer will display here. We'll draw an arrow. Answer will display here, and then page will scroll down. Okay, just wanted to explain how things are going to move around a bit. So we'll do let's go with the fun answer. Well, let's go with the strict answer first. James. Remember, Siri's over here. Me is over here. They're always on the left, you're always on the right. It's like a texting conversation. It's back and forth on the correct size. James, you are 2,000 feet above sea level. I'm going to abbreviate. Level is level. That is twice the height of the Empire State Building. Okay, so now the word is drawn, and then below that, the picture will be displayed.
Hey James,
What's up?
if Dad wanted to go with us, or wanted to go, would you want to go with us to see Holmes and Watson?
All right, sorry about that. I had a visitor. So here is where your, why did I write comp? This is your picture representation of comparison. Basically, relative height. So for example, and scroll down. Because we want the answer read to you. But when it comes to the picture, we want the words explaining the picture first. And if you want to see the picture further, well, then you can choose to engage with your phone with the finger. But since you're asking in voice, we want the response to be in voice. And then we'll choose to display the picture with your finger. You scroll down farther. And from here, we'll just crop this a little bit. So we'll have 2,000 feet above sea level that is twice height of ESB. I have your picture here. And the cool thing about this is that it takes up like half the screen. So what we can do is we can really use some cool graphical representation. So we can have a couple things here. We can have a map. Which I think is okay. But maps are more of like, well, we're not talking about where you are. We're talking about how high you are. Where, but how high. So we want to make sure that this is the representation of somehow. So we'll put an X next to this. So we could have your, like I said, comparison. And I'll just use this bottom remaining space to do some comparison analogies, and maybe I'll fill it in there. So we could have, you know, if you're on the surface of a mountain, you could have your U, you could have your Empire State Buildings stacked on top. You could have a simple graphical representation. So you could have your right here. And this will say something like 2,000 feet, 1,000 feet. And then we can have Empire State Building 1, Empire State Building 2. You could also do something like I guess the side by side is probably the best way to do it, because when you do this, you get a really good, like, yeah, but you might not know exactly what the mountain looks like. Maybe we can do like, we can just assume that it has you at the peak, even though you may not. Let's see, what else? You could have how to show height, You could do simple arithmetic too. You could have your little dude. And then you could have so we'd have U equal negative state building equal to, well, 1,000 feet. You could say like you were 2 times that. Obviously you could have just math too, that's like 2,000 minus 1,000, 1,000 was 0, U, ESB1, ESB B2. That just kind of feels dumb, you know? Okay, so we'll just go with this idea. That one was a good one. So let me just draw it in here and then we'll call it. Maybe this one. This one's probably better. Maybe there's a way to visualize the mountain better because we don't know if you're at the peak. We don't know if you're scaling it. I guess there's no real way to know if you're at the top or not. So we could also just do like a general... And then I guess assumptions are gonna have to come through in this one. But anyways, I'll just draw. I'll draw one of these in here. Okay, so the map of where you are, since we have the altitude chart, let's just draw where it thinks you are, since we already are using GPS to figure that out. So let's go like this, and then up, and then down. Got it, cool. I'll put you here, and then we'll put State Building 1 and State Building 2. Okay. ESB1, ESB2. This is you. So yeah, all right. Wish I iterated a little bit more, but whatever. It's an exercise. Who cares? So anyway, 3 weeks of James Explains. I should start organizing all this paper together some way. That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.